Hi, it is Tootie Tagerly, afternoon Pacific time on Tuesday. And I have to admit, I was quite a bit apprehensive about going live today because of my face. My face is quite bruised up, and over the past 3 to 4 days since Saturday, I've been living with and dealing with a lot of fears. So I thought I would share with going live and talking about what it means to feel your fears and strategies and techniques for working through this and experiencing it. Because some of the worst things is to suppress, pretend it doesn't happen, just make the bad, uncomfortable, fearful, scared feelings go away. And that's simply not possible. Things that you try to suppress keep coming up afterwards. I was told by a colleague to simply say, knife fight when people asked, but yeah, not necessarily the most accurate. Um, I'm a surfer, as many of you know, and last Saturday was a beautiful, warm, sunny San Francisco day with some amazing waves in Ocean Beach, outside of right by San Francisco, where I live. And on one of the waves, I had a late takeoff, and in the tumble, not in the immediate tumble, but afterwards, my board came back and smacked me in the face. Um, it's something that's happened before, but never to this extent. And I knew from the immediate pain that it was going to be a bad injury, and I immediately went into shore, um, and kind of sat there sobbing and shaking with the fear for quite a period of time. I joke that unfortunately we're not a little bit closer to Halloween because this would be a wonderful zombie, I don't know, zombie bride, Carrie prom outfit, just some type of naturally occurring Halloween costume. But I think it's going to fade by then, unfortunately, or fortunately. Since I don't exactly like looking at myself in the mirror, I go, when I turn around and see it. But if we talk about feeling your fears, really, being scared is part of living. It's part of going around and doing things and experiencing your life. For me, we face fears and risks every day. Many people, when they learn that I'm surfing, they'll ask things like, "Isn't it cold?" The answer is yes. You wear a wetsuit. Or aren't you afraid of sharks? And the answer is yes, but the odds of a shark attack in are very low. More people are killed by lightning in the United States than each year than by shark attacks. So it's kind of both of those things. And having the fear, experiencing the fear is simply part of going out and about and living our lives. And we did that collectively through COVID, knowing the unknown, knowing the risk, and continuing to keep going. I taught a workshop this morning, a leadership class, and my co teacher, Jim Herman, reminded me of this beautiful quote: "Fear is excitement without the breath," by Fritz Perls, a psychotherapist, I believe, and one of the founders of Gestalt. The feeling of fear in your body and the feeling of excitement are really similar. Heart pounding, maybe overwhelm and not being able to think because your thoughts and head are all over the place. Butterflies in your stomach, just an agitation. All of these are things that happen for me. And right after being hit, I was on the beach and I was physically shaking. One of the manifestations for me of fear is my right arm starts shaking uncontrollably. And many people after an injury, some pain, just have that reaction in their body. However, the reminder from Fritz Perls and the ability to kind of watch your cognitive loops in your brain and then make choices based on that, that is a part of being human. That is a part of having the rational power to decide and pick different ways. As I was sitting there shaking, I knew that I was angry. I was angry I missed that wave. I was angry that happened to me on the first wave. I was angry that I, wasn't a better surfer. And I was shaking and scared. And I reminded myself to breathe, to listen to the rolling of the waves and keep breathing and calm down. And to be honest, just completely honest, it doesn't always work. But it helps, and it helps persist and get through it. There's a cognitive loop in your head where it's hard for you to think, and you kind of just get caught in the cycle of blame and anger. Be like, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? And a lot of that is living in the past or thinking in the present, future. What's going to happen? Am I going to have a concussion? Are they going to take me into the hospital? So the breath centers you into the here and now, into the moment. And one of my teachers, Shazad Shamin, talks about it's impossible to be stressed or anxious if you stay with the present, which is currently the breath. That's hard though. That can be really hard. But if the first scenario and the first tool about feeling your fears is just knowing that, hey, this is part of the process, being scared is part of living, what you can do is focus on the present and your breath. A second tool that I find helpful to those of us who spend the majority of our lives in our brain, our big, powerful brains, is to break this negative cognitive loop pattern of thinking, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, what's going to happen later? And very intentionally think about, use data and research and facts to be like, okay, what is the worst case? What is the best case? So fast forward a little bit as part of the surfing story. Immediately on the beach, I was seen by a lifeguard and some EMTs, emergency medical team, I believe, who confirmed that I did not have a concussion, nothing was broken, and that I was okay. So that was great. I continued about my day on Saturday, continued about my day on Sunday, and then Sunday evening started to experience really scary symptoms with my eye and with my vision. I'm severely myopic, nearsighted, and my optometrist has always said, watch, and this is a bad sign of any of these things happen, floaties, squiggly lines, black spots, and flashes of light. So lo and behold, Sunday evening, spots, polka dots, hundreds and hundreds of polka dots on this eye, but not this eye. S-shaped squigglies floating from left to right and all around. I call them snakes just in my vision. And then flashes of light. Whew. I'm a doer. I'm a problem solver. Crises are actually good for me because I jump into doing things. So I called my optometrist, got a hold of him in a Sunday evening in a helpline hotline, and he let me know that this could be kind of bad. He was urging me to go into the ER immediately, but he also connected me to an ophthalmologist, an on-call ophthalmologist. And this was me using my brain and going through research and problem solving. And what was really helpful about this process of gathering data while I was still anxious, while I was still trying to breathe, is the question that I asked one of them, which was, all right, tell me what's the worst case of this? And it wasn't that bad. I was terrified because I thought I might go blind and lose an eye. And instead, Dr. Stamper said, well, the worst case is that there is, see if I can get the words right, it's a retinal detachment, in which case there is a surgical process for this, and You'll go through and do this. They can take care of it within a week. It's a very known process and it's going to happen. Another case is that maybe it's a tear, in which case there is a laser procedure, takes 10 minutes in the office. I'm like, okay. And as I talked to the other ophthalmologist, maybe about an hour later, she laid them all out to me from worst case to best case, which is, you know what? The eye has had an injury, a severe trauma to it. Could just be that some of the jelly behind your eye has shaken loose and that's causing the spots. So when you're feeling and facing fears, your brain can put you in a cognitive loop. You can breathe and know that being scared is normal, but also do the research, get the data, consider the extremes, what the worst case and the best case is. In my case, this was through medical professionals and doing that. And then finally, the last lesson is that fear doesn't last forever. It feels terrifying and horrible when you're in the midst of it. Feels like it's gonna last forever. You know, that probably 45 minutes on the beach while I sat there alone before I let someone help me, before my partner came in from the water, before the lifeguards there, that felt like an eternity. But as we all know from COVID, we shift. We don't stay sheltered in place the entire time. As the days and weeks and months pass, the shape of our fear shifts. If you allow yourself to feel it, to acknowledge that like your body is shaking, your heart is pounding, if you just feel the fear, it will shift. So yesterday morning, I spent most of the day at the ophthalmologist's office because they needed to see me and examine my eye. And that morning, I was terrified. You know, I did know what the worst case and the best case was, but there was still the sense of, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? Oh my gosh, lasers in my eye. Oh, I have a fourth tip. I'll come back to that. All right, I'll add a number 4. But and then eventually, you know, was in at the doctor's office. We showed up there at 9 and went through a series of, let's talk to this person who's going to check you in. Let's talk to this nurse. But I think we were sitting there in the doctor's office from 9 until about 12:30 before the doctor actually came and examined me. And the fear was there, but it actually shifted. Other things set in: boredom, irritation. Why is it taking them so long to see me, even though I'm a last-minute emergency patient that they slotted in? We're getting moved from room to room. Why are they not here yet? And the fear shifted. Paying attention to it shifted into other emotions and feelings. I also knew, based on the data and the research, even though Monday morning I didn't know what it was going to be, I knew by the end of the day, Monday, I was going to be able to see some medical experts and it would be resolved. And it was. So the lesson is fear doesn't last forever. Okay, the fourth lesson that I am going to put in, I don't have a pithy name for it, you know. I'm just going to call it feel all the emotions, because something that really, really helped during this process, you know, and this was me saying, all right, most likely they're going to laser my eye and it's going to take 10 minutes and it's going to be okay. And then I started flipping out over the thought of them lasering my eye. Forgot to breathe, just flipping out. And my partner at the time, or my partner at that moment, shifted my emotions. He was like, well, imagine the posts you can make afterwards, laser focused on launching my book. And I looked at him. I was like, you fucking joking about this right now? And then I burst out into laughter. Because that's what it is. Fear is a deep, intense emotion. And it's really akin to humor and laughter. And if you can shift and feel all the emotions, including the laughter, it lightens things and it helps and it makes you know and feel that, hey, it's going to be okay. All right. So in this talk about feeling your fears, 3, 4, 5, I don't know, a number of points to think about. Being scared is part of living. What helps is knowing that you can help mitigate the fear by breathing. Thank you, Fritz Pearls. You can use your brain to consider the worst case, best case scenario and do that research. Fear doesn't last forever. And also you can shift the fear into all the other emotions, including humor. All right, that's it for today. See you next Tuesday. Although we might, yes, see you next Tuesday. Bye.